The art of tuning Mustangs has been a thing since the late 60s. We had originally Carol Shelby take a regular Mustang GT Fastback and turn it into what we know as the GT350 Hertz Rent-A-Racer. He went on to build the legendary GT500s and other performance version of the Mustangs. And for a while, it was really only Shelby that was doing these things to the Mustang.
My name's Carol Shelby, and performance is my business.
And it wasn't until the mid-90s where a person by the name of Jack Roush decided to fund his own performance Mustang Building Company in terms of Roush performance. In 1995, he took a 4.6 liter GT Mustang and basically made it a competitor to what Shelby was doing.
I designed the Roush Mustang for the true automobile enthusiast.
And nowadays we have both companies still running strong as giants of what has become essentially an industry in itself. Now, to start off with the Shelby, we have Shelby's most expensive Mustang offering that you could buy nowadays. This is a 2023 Speedster, which is, as I said, the most craziest Shelby that you can buy. This is a very limited production version of the Mustang that we're only going to see for a couple of years. And Shelby went all out when it came to tuning this thing. So this thing has a 3-liter Whipple supercharger strapped to the top of that Coyote, and it jacks the horsepower up from a measly 450 horsepower to a Shelby claimed 825 with about 790 pound-feet of torque. Shelby also goes ahead and builds all of their custom coolant pipework to make sure that this supercharger stays cool for the most ample amount of performance. They also go throughout the car and change up a bunch of the suspension, a bunch of the body, as you can see, to make sure that this Mustang can put down 825 ponies on the pavement. This supercharger right here is a Eaton 2.65 liter that, if you guys are kind of like, that looks kind of familiar, you're right, because this is the same supercharger that Ford puts on the Shelby GT500 and the all-new Raptor R, which means this thing makes an insane amount of power, more specifically 750 horsepower and about 780 pound-feet of torque. This thing is an absolute monster. And yes, it doesn't look as crazy as the Shelby does. It looks very kind of just like a regular factory Mustang. Whereas the Shelby looks, you know, it's got the bumpers, it's got the badging, everything. This thing, I would compare it more to a scalpel. It is a fine instrument that gets the job done and it performs every single time. The Shelby, on the other hand, I would compare it to a sledgehammer. It's got brute force, it just wants to knock things down, and it's in your face. And now, honestly, it may seem like that I am a little biased towards the Roush, and it's just in my personal experience, I've found that this car seems to perform every single time you get in it. It performs the same way, and you know it's gonna basically do exactly what you tell it to do. The Shelby, on the other hand, I've had a bad experience with one. I was out driving it and it blew a coolant line. That may not happen to anybody else. That in my experience, I didn't have a very good time driving the car. But again, there's sort of two different aspects. This one is performing at its utmost every single time. This one's more like it only performs when you want it to. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys are interested in seeing which of these two brutes truly is the faster car, make sure you check out the next video where we're gonna put them head to head. And make sure you subscribe.